Well, it's one of the biggest scams to have hit our country's defense establishment since Bofors, implicating a former Air Force chief as well. Now more details are emerging of a complex money trail by which kickbacks were routed to India, and the political chorus is growing louder. As the chopper scam looks all set to overshadow the budget session of Parliament, today the government took the first steps to cancel the over 3,500 crore rupee VVIP chopper deal with AgustaWestland. The government issued a show-cause notice to AgustaWestland, the firm which manufactures the AW101 chopper, 12 of which were to be inducted into the Indian Air Force to be used by VVIPs. AgustaWestland has been given 7 days to reply on the charges of bribery. An integrity pact in the contract allows the government to cancel this deal if any kickbacks were paid. But in all of this, let's continue our focus on that Italian prosecutor's report, that same report which speaks about the role of middlemen in India in this deal. Let's take a look at some of the main points. Money was transferred, says the report, to Air Chief Marshal S. Tyagi between 2004 and 2007. Tyagi is a public official. He acted contrary to his official duties. International crimes resulted in corruption of public officials in India. Very strong words. Justification to pay for intermediaries is an offence of a criminal nature. The Tyagi brothers promised and at least partly transferred money to the ex-air chief. 400,000 euros were transferred to a company, IDS India. We now know that to be a shell company for use by middlemen, by the Tyagi's lawyers and by the Tyagi family. Now, Guido Hashka, a middleman in this deal, met Julie Tyagi, also known as Sanjeev Tyagi, at a family marriage in Lugano. Hashka met Air Chief Marshal Tyagi 6 to 7 times personally. So again, the role of the former Air Chief coming into sharp question as far as the points raised in this prosecutor's report is concerned. The first time that the Air Chief actually met some of these middlemen, the first time was with a delegation of Finmeccanica. That's when there was this exchange, the first time that it actually happened. Hashka once greeted Air Chief Marshal Tyagi, apparently by touching his feet. All right, well, let's now continue to look at the middlemen, the key players in all of this, how that scam money was routed to India. So let's just take a look at the money trail. Now remember, the bribe amount was 51 million euros. How did that 51 million get to India? It got through middlemen. There were 3 primary middlemen: Guido Hashka and Carlos Geroso. They worked very closely together, and Christian Michel. Now Michel, very little is known about him except that he operates in Dubai and the United Kingdom. 20 million euros was given to Hashka and to Geroso, and Michel got 30 million euros. Now the Tyagi brothers apparently got their money from Hashka and Geroso. 20 million euros was the amount that the two had, of which 12 million euros landed up with the Tyagi brothers. And the allegation is that this money was apparently routed, some of it, to the former Air Chief S.P. Tyagi, though it should be mentioned that there has never been an instance when the Italian and the international middlemen were present when there was actually an alleged transfer of money to the former Air Chief. Now, how were the bribes routed to India in terms of shell companies? How does anyone transfer such a large amount of 51 million euros without being caught? Well, here's how it actually happened, and yes, these people evidently are in the process of being caught. All right, well, it all begins with Finmeccanica. Now, Finmeccanica is the mother company for AgustaWestland. AgustaWestland manufactures the AW101 VVIP choppers. That's the chopper in question. Finmeccanica apparently set up front companies, shell companies, IDS in Tunisia and IDS in India. We do not know very much about this except for the fact that IDS India doesn't exist on the registrar of companies, and apparently IDS Tunisia, even if it did exist, has subsequently folded up. But money was apparently transferred here and ultimately went to India. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. There is a legit company, a legitimate company in India called IDS Infotech. It exists in Chandigarh. It's got international offices. It deals with software, among other things. This particular company had a deal with Finmeccanica and with AgustaWestland. They were handling a particular contract for AgustaWestland. That contract and nothing else was acquired by a company called Aeromatrix in 2009. Now, 2009, very critical, because 2009 is when the Cabinet Committee on Security was looking very closely at this deal. So the AgustaWestland part of this contract was acquired by Aeromatrix, and there you have it. Who were the directors of Aeromatrix? Guido Hashka and Carlo Geroso, the same middlemen that we've been referring to. Now, there is one more point over here that I can also refer to. And here, and we don't have an answer to this as yet. Now, to the best of our knowledge, Aeromatrix, this company, has an annual turnover of not very much, apparently $8.5 odd million. Again, that number is a little bit in dispute. How would 51 million euros be channeled through this one company? Chartered accountants tell us that's very unlikely. So question marks still exist. Now, the BJP today stepped up their attack on the government. They did so by referring to a part of the prosecutor's report where the words in translation are "the family." And basically this refers to how a family apparently acquired or was apparently the recipient of a very large amount of money. Now, the question that the BJP is saying, we'll get BJP spokespersons, which in fact Mr. Javadekar, who addressed that press conference earlier on, is who is this family that you're talking about? Is this the family of Air Chief Marshal Tyagi? That's what we've been reporting over the last several days. But is the BJP apparently or possibly alluding to some sort of a Congress link as well? That remains unclear. The family wants it that their arrangement is observed with regard to 28 million euros. This was apparently the kickback to this family, whosoever this family may be. Was it the Congress that they are talking about, the Gandhis they were talking about, or was this in fact just the Tyagis that the BJP is referring to? Now, one agreement was for 42 million euros with the team of middlemen, the other for 8 million euros. In fact, that should read 28 million euros. That's a typo. That should read 28 million euros with the family. All right. So, who is that family? This is what the BJP is alleging, and we will have Prakash Javadekar as well on this program in a few moments.
In the charge sheet prepared in Italy, before the Italian court, the charge sheet mentions that rupees 200 crores were paid to the first family. There is mention of the family. The family. Who is this the family?